really sure how to start this. A lot's going on. Well, a lot has gone on in the last 3.5, 4 weeks of my life. Maybe longer than that. So, I had to call the police on my boyfriend. I had to send him to jail because he put his hands on me and tried to destroy my mother's house. The reason... Shit, this is fucking ridiculous. The reason he did that is because I told him that I was cheating on him. So, here's the whole chronology of things. I do DoorDash as kind of a side gig. And around the beginning of November, things in my relationship weren't good. Like, he had shut me out pretty much completely. I tried talking to him. It was like talking to a wall, and so I kind of gave up talking to him. Man, this is hard to talk about to strangers. So, we just stopped communicating. We were basically like roommates. We weren't having sex. We weren't having fun. I wasn't happy. He says he was happy and oblivious, but I know he wasn't. So, I was working DoorDash, and I received an order that was typically a lot further away than I would normally take an order. And I decided to take it anyway, which is weird because I didn't know the place. Nothing. But I took the order. And I went there, and there was this man who was incredibly charming and helped me out to my car with food. And gave me his number and gave me a kiss on the cheek. And there was this, I swear, you guys are gonna think I'm like, I've been watching too many Hallmark movies, but there was this immediate spark, this chemistry, like I felt something. So I delivered the food, and my brain was just such mush. Like, I had to go park in a Walmart parking lot and just sit there because I was non-functioning. I couldn't even stop thinking about him. And so I sent him a text as a thank you for helping me out, and we started talking and expressed the mutual chemistry that was felt between us. That was around the beginning of November. We continued talking for a few days, and then I kind of ghosted him because I knew I was in a relationship. And like, that was one of his first questions to me when I texted him, was like, do you have a boyfriend or a husband? And my response was, is it bad that I don't want to admit that I do have a boyfriend. And that should have been my sign right there. So anyway, we talked for a few days, and then for about a week and a half, I just stopped talking to him because I knew that was a moral line that I just did not want to cross. Like, I've been cheated on in every relationship in my life. I've never cheated, ever. I've never even come close to crossing that line. So I needed to take some time and figure out what the fuck was going on in my head and what I actually wanted to do. Oops. So during that week and a half, I really tried to like reignite what I was feeling with my boyfriend. Like, I tried. I was active in the relationship. So in all that time that I was trying to be engaged in my relationship and try and like do the right thing, you know, this is basically an 11-year relationship, on and off, but the last of which was 2.5 really solid years. In all that time, I could not stop thinking about this guy. I couldn't. And so I finally texted him and said, I have not been able to stop thinking about you, and I'm sorry that I disappeared. I just needed to take some time to think about things. And so we continued talking. And then we agreed to meet. And I used DoorDash as an excuse. I told my boyfriend that I had a late order, and I went and met him. I was super nervous driving over to meet him, but I couldn't stop myself. Just couldn't stop. And I didn't know how it was going to be because I'd met him one time while I was working. And we met up and we both got out of our cars and he kissed me, and it was just so easy and comfortable. And that's all that happened. We talked, just got to know one another a little bit. Then I went home. And that's when I started to realize that I was pretty well on my way to checking out of my relationship. Then Thanksgiving came, and my mom came down. My boyfriend and my mom, well, my mom is a wonderful person. Very tolerant person. She likes everybody. My boyfriend does not like my mom very much. Should have been a red flag for me 11 years ago. Basically, my boyfriend wanted me to be the middleman of all the issues that he had with my mom. And it was causing me so much stress. Like, I told him I'm not going to do it, and he took that as he didn't have my support, which isn't really fair, because some of the things that he had issue with I agreed with, but I told him we're living in her house. I don't want to be right. I just want to be happy. So if she has an issue with something, I'm just going to do it her way. Simple enough. He just could not or refused to grasp it, wouldn't accept it. And he got really pissed off, and he's like, I'm leaving. This is on Thanksgiving night. We've, had dinner, it was nice over dinner, and then Thanksgiving night, just shit hits the fan. He's just fucking livid. So he's really pissed off, and he's like, I'm leaving. And I told him, don't take my car. A, because you're pissed off. I don't want you driving my car while I'm mad. Now, he has his own car, but his car was just being a piece of shit, basically. So he had been using my car. I told him, don't take my car. He's like, I'm taking your car. And he's like, what are you gonna do? Call the cops? I was like, fucking A, don't take my car. I went and talked to my mom, who had already gone to sleep. And she's like, don't call the cops. Just when he gets back, just calmly go to him and say, just give me my keys. So he got back like half an hour later. And he went and sat out on the dock. And I walked up to him and I said, I just want my key. And he's like, he asked me a question. I don't even remember what it was. But I said, can I just please get my key? And he's like, I'm not giving you the key until you answer my question. And my mom was awake, of course, going, basically just being mama bear, which is what moms are supposed to do. So I went inside and I told my mom he's not giving me the key. So she trotted her happy ass out there because her name's on this car too. And she holds out her hand and just goes, the key. He gives her the key. Then he's really pissed. And he comes in and he is just not screaming, just yelling. My children are asleep. He is just yelling, and he's calling me a fucking coward, and he told me to eat shit, and all in front of my mother, which is mortifying. Absolutely mortifying. And I just was done. Like, that day, I was done. So I continued talking to this guy. Continued seeing this guy. Things moved forward until about 3 weeks ago, I think it was. It was December 2nd. I went outdoor dashing. Actually, I was supposed to go outdoor dashing. I told him I was going outdoor dashing, but I was actually just getting out of the house. I needed to just get out. I was starting to be just racked with guilt. Knowing that I needed to tell him. Like, I had initially thought, okay, I can make it through the holidays. I can get through the holidays, and then I can tell him. I couldn't. He knew. He was suspicious of something. And I knew I couldn't keep lying because I'm a fucking terrible liar. And I knew it wasn't right. And so I spent like 3 hours just driving around, sitting in parks, like I am right now, trying to grow a pair enough to go home and tell him that the relationship was over and I was seeing somebody else. So I went home after sitting for a very long time, and we were talking, and he asked me, are you talking to anybody else? And I said, yes. And he said, are you cheating on me? I said, yes. And he wanted specifics about what I had done. And I told him, not like really specific, like positions and everything. And he hit the fucking ceiling. Which I understand. But I mean, we're outside on the water. It's late at night and he's screaming about like what I've done, like in my face and shit like that. And so again, I'm fucking mortified. My neighbors are hearing all of this. I know people in the next fucking county were hearing it. horrible. He was just screaming and screaming and screaming, and I told him, like, I'm gonna leave. Because if you want to talk about this, I'm not gonna listen to this screaming. We can talk, but I don't want my neighbors to know everything that's going on. And he's like, don't leave. And I said, listen, I will stay here if you come inside and can calmly talk to me. Well, that was a huge fucking mistake. So we start talking. His volume starts going up. He's getting loud. He's angry, and which he's hurt. He feels betrayed, which is completely understandable. Like, I know what I did was wrong. I don't justify what I did. Not in the least. I should not have done things the way I did things. He gets pissed off and says, he storms out like he's going for a drive. I look down at my phone, and my 14-year-old, almost 15-year-old daughter has sent me a text asking me if I'm okay. When he leaves, she comes out. And she had heard pretty much everything, so I had to tell her what was going on, which was not my finest hour, of course. Not everything, just the basics. And then I hear him come back, and he wasn't gone for very long. Oh, wait. I need to back up. Before he left, we hit some crescendo of the argument, and we had been sitting on opposite sofas. And I said something, or I don't even know what I said, but apparently it affected him in such a way that in an instant he was over me, pinning my head back on the sofa with his hand around my neck. It was uncomfortable. I could breathe. I could talk to him. And when he realized what he was doing, like, he still didn't let go. Like, I was pinned there for a solid 3 minutes, I would say. It was scary. He didn't actually hurt me, but he had never put hands on me. I mean, we've definitely had some arguments, some pretty significant arguments, but he's never put hands on me, ever. So it was scary. Then he left. My daughter comes out. I'm telling her what's going on. I hear his car come back, and I had to tell her, a 15-year-old, like, she's an innocent in all this. And everybody's fucking awake now. My boys are. And they're scared. You know, they're 10 and 5. My daughter's trying to protect them from hearing anything and protect them from being scared. So I hear his car come back, and I told her, go stand in the back hallway, and if I call your name, you need to call 911. So he comes back in. He's not really calm, but we're talking, quote unquote, and I said something. I told him that I didn't want to stop seeing this guy because I was out of the relationship. I was done. I was done with the relationship, checked out. Like, my feelings were gone for him. I don't know how that happened, but it did. I told him I did not want to stop seeing this guy. And he started taking things of my mother's that can't be replaced, and throwing them and breaking them and just destroying them completely. And then he tries to overturn a glass top coffee table, and I put my hand out to try and stop the glass from hitting the floor, and it bends my fingers back like really, really badly. That was the only time that I was hurt. But at that point, like, I knew I had no other option. I had no control over this situation. I had no trump cards left to pull out. I couldn't stop what was happening, and I had to call to my daughter for her to call 911. That's an awful fucking position to have to put a teenager in. And I'm pissed that he put me in that situation, to have her in that situation, because she had to come out and she had to give the police a statement, and I had to give the police a statement, and they arrested him. And so he goes to his arraignment. This guy, all he wants to do is see that I'm okay after I've told him what happened. He gets, my boyfriend, the ex at this point, gets bonded out, and he's not supposed to have contact with me. He's supposed to only come to my house one time with a police officer to get his stuff. But the next day, I get a knock on the door at like 8:30 in the morning. I let the kids stay home because no one had gotten any sleep the night prior. I get a knock on the door, and it's the Department of Children and Families. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, now I'm pissed off times 20, because I'm a good mom. I am not supposed to be on their radar. And sometimes they can do some shady things. Anyway, let them in. They talk to the kids, blah, 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 with me there. They wanted to talk to the kids alone. I said, It's insane. So he ended up, the ex ended up breaking the no contact order. He messaged me and asked if he could come get his stuff, because the police were only gonna give him like 10 minutes. And I told him, well, I've boxed up most of your stuff already and put it in your car. You need to come get your car, but if you want to come get your stuff, that's fine. That was my mistake, because that was the beginning of an ongoing, days upon days of crying and begging and just the same conversation every single day. I want you back. I miss you. I need you. And I feel nothing. I feel nothing. I feel bad that I hurt him, of course. I'm not a complete fucking bitch. I feel horrible that I hurt him. I wanted him to see the kids, because that's reasonable, But every time that he wanted to see the kids, it was like he saw the kids for 20% of the time, and then the other 80% was like him trying to talk to me. That's not how it's supposed to be. If you say you're coming to see your kids, come see your kids. Begging, pleading, crying. I understand you're in pain, but like, all I was asking for was for him to just give me some time, because it was so new, and we're not even really supposed to be talking, So, a couple weeks of this goes by, no joke, and I'm like trying not to take his phone calls, but at the same time, like, I'm also not denying him when he says he wants to come see his kids, but it always ends up being about him wanting to see me. So I'm in a horrible place. So fucking finally, after a couple weeks of this, I get a message from his mom on Facebook that he's at the ER. His blood pressure is super high. He's been dealing with high blood pressure. He has a family history. Like, his father died at 36. All of his dad's brothers, except for one, were dead by 40 from heart issues. So, he's in the ER. High blood pressure. They decided to keep him. He didn't want me to know. They decided to keep him overnight for observation. And turns out he had a small heart attack. And the doctor said if he doesn't quit smoking, he could die at any time. If he doesn't start taking better care of himself, he could die at any time. So, of course, the heart attack was my fault. Because of all the stress that I put him through. Which I think is absolute fucking bullshit. You can't blame that on me. The fact that you can't manage your emotions so much. You're gonna put a heart attack on me? I'm sorry. You're overweight. You have high cholesterol. You don't take care of yourself. You smoke. You drink. You have not been taking care of yourself for years. And I've been telling you for years to take care of yourself. But, of course, it's my fault. So, he's on heart medication now. I kind of ghosted him for a couple of days, just hoping that that separation would give him, like, some time to deal with his feelings a little bit. He tried to go out on a date, and that didn't work for him very well. And I think he did it, no, he actually told me he did it because he wanted to see if it bothered me. It didn't bother me. I felt nothing. And he's still, to this day, begging and pleading and just asking me to continue thinking about it. And I am just so far removed. I feel nothing. Except with this guy, I feel happy. And what the ex doesn't understand is I haven't been happy. And I'm not going to start apologizing for making myself happy. And maybe that sounds super, super callous, but life's too short. And I've been a mom since I was 19 years old. I've been in long-term relationships for my entire life, basically. My entire adult life. And this relationship has been on and off. It's been toxic. I've been an emotional and verbal punching bag. And I found someone circumstantially who opened my eyes to what I needed, which was freedom from that. And I'm happy. I'm not happy that he's unhappy, but I'm happy. So, there's my update. Super depressing, but also exciting. I feel like I'm starting a new chapter in my life that could go anywhere. And I know I'm still going to deal with the drama of the ex and have to listen to the whining and the crying and the begging and the crying and the crying and the crying. But that comes along with it. That's part of my penance, I think, for what I did. But I'm excited because I feel free and I'm happy. So do what makes you happy, but do it the right way. I have to re-find myself again a little bit because I crossed a line that I never thought I was capable of crossing. So I have some work to do for myself, but life's too short to be unhappy. Make yourselves happy. There's my update. I'll keep you guys posted. And talk to you later.